I'm out today metal detecting. It's a beautiful day in a lovely part of the world, and what I thought I'd do is show you some of the stuff I bring when I come out metal detecting. A few people have asked, what do you need to start metal detecting? Well, not a lot really. Your biggest expense is going to be the metal detector. I use a Garrett 250 Ace, and I find it does everything I need. But you can get metal detectors from cheap ones, £50 up to £1,000. It depends what you want it for. I find the Garrett a nice sort of entry-level one, but you don't need £1,000 metal detectors to just come looking in a field. And most of the other stuff, I'm just looking, I don't think any of it cost me more than £10. The Garrett shovel, a little trowel, I bought second hand off eBay. The bag cost me £5. The knee pads cost £5. The gloves, a couple of pounds. The pointer, just under £20. I made this out of a feed scoop for a horse, and I just drilled loads of holes in it. I think that was £1.98. The little trowel, that was a couple of pounds. The brushes, they were the same. I've got a tape measure for measuring areas out. A little magnifying glass, so I can open it one-handed. Handy to have. A few pounds. And I got a little fines bag. If you look closely you can see the name of the supermarket I bought it from. 98p. So when you look at all the gear I've got, it's not expensive. Like I said, the biggest outlay is probably a metal detector, but you don't have to have an expensive one. You're just coming out to have fun, have a nice mornings, meadow larking. You don't need expensive gear. Most people are not going out to find treasure troves or hoards of gold. Just a nice afternoon out in the countryside. So you don't need to go mad buying stuff. Like I said, most of the stuff you can buy for under £10. And if you're inventive, a lot of sort of pound shops and cheaper shops sell stuff that's perfectly adequate. The little trowel, it was only a couple of pounds from sort of a discount shop. And the shovel I got from a local hardware shop, that was £6.99. Some little fines boxes, 50p each. So yeah, and it does everything I need. I get out, gets me in the countryside, and I thoroughly enjoy myself. So yeah, this is what you need really. You don't need to go mad to start with. You can get most of the stuff quite cheaply. It's interesting when you come metal detecting, because I'm sure when people watch videos on YouTube and see things on the television that you're finding treasure all the time. It isn't like that really. We've been coming today and we've been getting lots of hits, just pieces of scrap iron, but it's nice to pull them out. It's nice to try and find the place in history, and that for me really is what it's about. It'd be nice to find some treasure, but I like putting things into context. If you find a piece of farm machinery, what's it from? How did it get there? Who put it there? What did it drop off? Was it mechanised? Was it horse-drawn? And that for me is one of the exciting bits of metal detecting. You never know what's going to turn up. As you can see, as you look round, we've had a lot of good finds today. Finding a lot more musket balls again. But as we're digging, we're finding a lot of old brick. Like I said, we're finding lots of sort of flecks of charcoal. So I wonder if it was an old Civil War forge where he was making musket balls, and maybe that's why we're finding so many unfired ones. Don't know, just like I say, supposition, pure guesswork. We don't know, because nothing's been recorded about this this site, so we're really excited as to what we're finding. I've just been digging this hole and I found this piece of pottery. Now, I don't know how old it is. It looks like it could be quite old. It's sort of ridged on the outside. It looks like some sort of colour on it. It looks old, looks very old. Looks like it's been burned. Very interesting piece. Now, I think there's something else still in this hole. I'm just going to have a look at the pointer. Reach around and get it. And oh, there we go. There's something there. Ah, now what's this? Ah, look at that. Now, does anybody know what that is? I do. I know exactly what that is, and I'm really, really excited to find that. This is the lid of a powder flask. Now, a Civil War musketeer would have carried a bandolier filled with a charge of gunpowder, but he would also have had a flask of what they called fine powder to put in the priming pan. And this is a lid off a fine gunpowder flask. That is fantastic. That is almost like conclusive evidence that soldiers were here in the Civil War. That is fantastic. That's an absolutely amazing find. Incredible. Nice. Just been in this hole and found a piece of looks like iron slag. I'm wondering whether this is from a foundry. We're finding it on the same level as the red brick and the charcoal. So I wonder if that's sort of a byproduct of the smelting for the melting the lead. Now, I've also found these two. They don't look much, but I think they're the stem off a clay pipe. You can see through the middle there's a hole all the way through. I don't think it's bone. It could be, but I'd say it's more likely the stem of a pipe. Nice things to find. Signs that soldiers were here, people were here. So yeah, impressed with that. I was just going to fill this hole in. I think there's something in the corner there. Oh, is that a musket ball? Oh, what's that? Let's have a seal. Now, another interesting artifact from the English Civil War. Now, you remember before we found the flask top of a fine powder flask? Well, this is the lid of a sort of a powder flask that held the charge that went down the barrel. What I'll do later, I'll show you what the powder charges look like, what the bandoliers look like that the men carried. And this was the lid that would fit on top of a charge of gunpowder. That is a really fantastic find, very significant find. It's all pointing to there definitely being some sort of military camp here in the sort of the 1640s. We're getting some really good artifacts coming out now, which is really interesting, intriguing, and making us champ at the bit now, try and find some more fantastic pieces. Excellent. Hey, what I'm wearing is a bandolier of powder flasks that an English Civil War musketeer would have worn. And it's the same period of the musket balls that we're digging up. About in the 1640s was when the Civil War was raging across the country. Technically, it was really War of the Three Kingdoms. It was England, Scotland and Ireland. But we tend to call it the English Civil War at the moment. Now, what we found on the field was one of these. Now, this is the lid of a powder flask, and these are powder flasks. Now, on mine, they've got wooden tops. Now obviously these would have perished a long time ago. You've got to remember, this has been in the floor for over 400 years, well, nearly 400 years. But if that was opened up, it would be a perfect fit on one of these, which is remarkable. It is really fascinating that would have fit. And if you look carefully at the side, you can see a little loop that's been flattened, and that's where the string would have fitted. And that would have slid up just like this does. That slides up and it pushes down. Now a bandolier would hold 12 powder flasks, and each powder flask would hold enough powder that when you put it down the barrel of the musket or the matchlock, would be enough to propel the musket ball out. So a musketeer always had enough for 12 shots, and that's what would have fitted on the top. And it is fantastic that would fit on these. These are reproductions. These have been made by a friend, but almost a perfect fit. Now the other thing we found when we were detecting, I did mention it, it was a fine powder flask. Now I've got one here. Now the fine powder flask, this would hold better quality powder than these. This powder would be quite coarse, but this powder, the fine powder, would go in the priming pan that ignited the powder in the barrel, and it had a fine nozzle at the top, and that's where the powder would go. Now I just tried this before I did the video. I just tried this. This fits perfectly on that. How incredible is that? How brilliant is that? You can see if that was opened out, it would just fit bob on. And it's brilliant to see, because I've never tried that before. And you know, I gave a friend some drawings for him to copy, and that's what he did. And he's almost done an exact replica of what a fine powder flask would look like. And it is brilliant to actually put an original spout on one of my reproductions. Fantastic. Now on the belt as well, the musketeer will carry this. This is called slow match. And if you ever see a matchlock musket, they'd have this in what's called a serpent, and it would be lit and glowing, and it would touch the powder and it would spark and it would fire the musket ball out. So it's lovely to find these sort of artifacts from the period, but it's also nice to actually match them up and show you what they would have looked like at the time. Absolutely incredible finds. Really pleased with these.